Crypto Geeks, and welcome to another video. I have some interesting and exciting news for you guys, and today we're going to take a look at the latest document that was uploaded from the SEC to Judge Netburn. That document was just sent yesterday, and it's actually in relevance to a new lawyer getting added by the SEC onto this fight against Ripple, the lawsuit. Now, a lot of people have looked at this addition in this document about the addition of a new lawyer in a very negative way, in seeing that the SEC is continuing its fight against Ripple and swaying away the speculation that settlement is only a stone throw away. Now, I have some analysis, some observations that I'm going to tell you about this new lawyer that is very significant to this case. And it's important to know, when you're looking at these lawyers getting added onto the lawsuit, their history, what they studied, where they worked at, and all of those, those aspects become relevant, because when you get someone that's been working for the SEC, as this lawyer has been working for the SEC for only 11 months, why is a lawyer that's only been working for the SEC for 11 months becoming a part of almost the biggest case that the SEC is holding right now? And I have some information for you as to why he is important. Before I move forward, guys, if you have not already clicked that like button, please smash that like button with that mouse of yours. Is only a tiny slide away. And if you're not a subscriber, please click subscribe so I can continue to create content for you guys. Now, I always update my viewers on Twitter with the latest updates. All of this stuff is on Twitter, and even some news about big whale alerts and things that are happening. And the Discord link as well, which I update on, is in the description. Now, let me tell you about this lawyer. So this new lawyer that was just added onto the case, again, as I mentioned a little while ago, he's only been working for the SEC for 11 months. And then that got me to asking myself, why would a lawyer that's only been working for the SEC for 11 months be added onto a case that's significant? So I went back on his LinkedIn and I did a bunch of searches on Google as to, what his degree is in. And he is in, actually, believe it or not, taxation. That's where he started out his career, in taxation law, which can make sense when the SEC even is potentially looking at a settlement, because they're going to try to calculate if they're, to the Ripple as to how much they owe in taxes. If they're saying that, between this year and this year, you were a security. Even if Ripple is to accept that Ripple was a security. So that's, to me, was a positive view of this. The second part, and the important part of all of this, who did he work for the last 12 years. This is a huge chunk of his career, all right, and a huge chunk of who he is. He's worked for 12 years for the Department of Justice, DOJ. Now, that's interesting. Someone that's been working for the Department of Justice for 12 years and joins the SEC from 11 months ago now is on this case. Now, why is the Department of Justice relevant to this lawsuit, and him having experience with the Department of Justice relevant? And it is because the Department of Justice declared that XRP was a currency. Now, this was through a settlement between the Department of Justice and Ripple. I believe, I don't recall the exact year, but this was a couple of years ago. And there was a bit of dilemma between the Department of Justice and Ripple, and he was one of the people that were employed by the Department of Justice in taxation during the year that the Department of Justice declared that XRP was a currency. So that is absolutely, now when you're trying to determine what is relevant or not relevant to this case, that is absolutely relevant to this case. If you want to look at the wording, and this is something that James, on Twitter, the lawyer that's been posting all these documents, is saying that, Ripple would not want a settlement. They want to win full clarity, and you don't get clarity by settling. When you're settling, you're declaring that you did wrong, but that you've worked it out. And what he's saying is Ripple is not going to admit doing wrong, because when you admit doing wrong, that means you're still a security, but the SEC has kind of forgiven you. He's saying that Ripple would want to fight this entire war so that they can get 100% clarity and prove the SEC wrong. So my response to that, and what I'll tell you, and this is, again, this lawyer is relevant to that, is what Ripple's going to want to get is they're going to want to get clarity through the settlement, because getting a settlement is much quicker than getting a full win, if you want to call it that. And how can they get this full clarity through a settlement is through specific wording within the settlement literature. So when they're writing it, there has to be specific wording that makes it very clear without hurting the SEC's reputation, because the SEC is not going to accept that XRP is a security. It's not a security, my apologies. Also, what the SEC is going to be looking for is that when they put this specific wording in, it's only specific to XRP. Because, again, the SEC wants to have the opportunity to be able to go after other cryptocurrencies. Now, who would have the most experience in creating literature of that magnitude? Someone that's done this before, right? So you want a lawyer that, at least, even if he wasn't the lead within the Department of Justice in creating this literature about he was a currency, without grouping XRP with the rest of the cryptocurrencies, because then really you move all jurisdiction. If you're saying every cryptocurrency is a currency, then you can't hunt after those ones that are 100% against, different than the rest of them, because you grouped them in the same category. So wording is very important, and you want someone that's been through it. And I think that's why he's very relevant to this case. And him being present doesn't negate the fact that a settlement is still likely on the way. Now, I've said this in my last couple of videos, and I will say it again. I still don't think that they have reached a 100% settlement. But I think they are at that stage where they're trying to word a document to settle. So when you're going through these settlement stages or phases of settlement, you're going to create a document, going to send it. SEC, let's say, creates the document. They send it to Ripple. Ripple, what they'll end up doing is scratching a word, saying, we don't like this word. This word hurts us. You change it to this word. And then the SEC takes a look at the document. They say, no, your word hurts us as well. And our word hurts you. Let's pick a word in the middle. And there's a back and forth. And you need experts that know, okay, this one works for both parties, and neither of us will get hurt from it. And that is, I believe, the stage that they're at right now. Now, at any point throughout the stage, they can come to a word or a phrase within this settlement document that, the SEC wants, and Ripple says we're not going to accept that, and the SEC refuses to move forward with it. And that could lead to a breakdown of the entire settlement talks. That could happen at any point. But the fact that they're discussing creates a bit of an openness. And that is why in my last couple of videos I said that I still believe that the Hinman deposition did go through, but I believe that Ripple is holding on to it and not submitting it because they have time still. Yes, we are getting close to the end of discovery, and yes, there are time frames for most documents, that it's best to submit it by that time frame. But we haven't passed those time frames as of yet. And again, when you want to get on each other's good side, so when Ripple wants the SEC to be lenient on some phrases and some documents within the, those settlement documents, they really don't want to release a document that has something that harms, for example, the SEC's reputation, because the SEC is likely to lash back, and they may lash back in the form of disagreeing on some things within the settlement, which leads to a breakdown in the settlement talks. And Ripple, I'm not saying, Ripple can handle fighting through this lawsuit, but again, they're taking losses every single day that we are going through this lawsuit. And yes, they can handle the losses, and yes, they will accept those losses if they have to. But if they can continue with this lawsuit and settle without any losses, what would they choose to do? I'm certain that they would choose to settle without any losses if they get what they are hoping to get out of a settlement. So that is my 2 cents for you guys in relevance to that most recent document. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Guys, if you want to stay tuned, just make sure your notifications are on. I know there's going to be big news in the coming days, and keeping a very sharp and close eye as to what's happening day by day. We're looking at a beautiful green market, and that could signal some things even in relevance to this lawsuit. Nothing yet. I'm not saying there's anything right now. The entire market is green, and it looks like the bull run is continuing, its progression. But it looks like there's going to be some news coming in a very short time, and looking like some major institutional investors are getting involved. So keep your notifications on. If you're not subscribed, please click that subscribe button. I try to update my Discord with the latest news. So the link for the Discord is in the description, and the same goes for Twitter. It's in the description, and it's Crypto Geek News. And if you've not clicked that like button, I want you to destroy that like button. I'll see you guys in the very next video.